So did you all have like hard time cues on 205 Live? Because that is a WWE Network show. Like what was that used to prepare you guys for anything else, like whether it be NXT or
It was
anybody?
it was a little more loose, of course, but at the same time, it was hard time cues because we still went on at a certain time and we still
Yeah.
had to be off at a certain time before they went live on USA. So, I mean, the cues were still in there. It definitely was to prepare us. It was definitely like cutting our teeth and getting good practice and stuff like that. Like, and I'm forever thankful for all of that. Um, and like, because there was times when it was like, hey, just go home,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and you either run everything you got left or cut whatever needs to be cut. So, yeah, it was. I think it was to prepare us in a lot of ways, but also like for whatever reason, in the back they were like, "Oh, we need time." Like, tell them to fill it. But they're in the ring. Who cares?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
And
Make 5 minutes out of nothing.
especially like the year and a half prior to you getting signed, you were working like a lot of different TV. Like you,
Mhm.
I think I don't know exactly how Beyond does their thing, but I know you did an
Right.
Impact spot. I know you did some ROH
Right.
spots, and you
Hmm.
did various New Japan spots. I think
Hmm.
Strong, and then maybe some of the stuff that they did in the U.S. as well. How did those differ? Like, did those other ones, did like Impact, ROH, and all that prepare you any better for WWE, or were they pretty much like wipe the slate clean? This is how we do it.
I think that in a general sense, they did prepare me because even though it's still sort of, hey, here's how we do it,
Mm-hmm.
it's not when you walk in, here's how we do it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, go fuck up. Then we'll tell you,
Hmm.
do this better. Because, I mean, it's hard for them to know when and like all the different ways you
Yeah.
need to improve or what you're going to mess up or whatever. So it's a constant evolving and learning thing, just like it is in anything else. But, you have 9 cams. So
Yeah.
it's hard cam, floor cam right, floor cam left, like all these gimmicks, and then what I can't even remember the big fucking jibby cam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
The one that slides.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just like on a crane,
Yeah.
and so and then of course there's just different time cues and but I really liked that style. Like you if you became too used to that style, you could get pretty spoiled in a way. But at the same time, it's difficult in its own way, but it's also easier in its own way because there's so many people working together. There's people in the back giving the cues to the refs relaying those to you. So if you're off, hey,
Yeah.
get the motherfucker on real quick. So um, yeah, I think I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the learning experience. And because of that, when and if there's a ROH or New Japan or whatever in my future, like I'm going to be able to present myself in a better light because of the experience there. That was, and the same thing in ROH or New Japan. You go out there and oh, I'm an indie guy and I didn't work hard cam properly,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the match. Maybe you did it well on your entrance or whatever, but when you're in there getting pummeled, are you? So, um, but there you're not really being as produced as much and stuff. So you don't really get that feedback that would have, that you would get in WWE. So yeah, it'll help a lot.
Without me being there to see how it all works, like part of me always just thinks back to like Tough Enough and how Chris Nowinski had worked with Killer Kowalski, he had trained there, and he's like helping out someone he's in a class with, and one of the trainers was like, "What the fuck you doing? That's not how we do it here."
Right.
And like, so you never know, and you never know what things are retained and what things are kind of tossed out the
Yeah, I think
window.
I think quite a lot of the tough enough stuff, of course, is like kayfabe too.
Sure, of course.
And then because I mean, the environment that I experienced while I was in WWE was very everyone's working
Mm-hmm.
together, everyone's working for the chief aim. So if someone else is giving you like ideas or information or critiques or whatever, no one's shutting that down. And in a lot of cases, they encourage that
Yeah,
because they want everyone working together, for the greater good and not one person. The greatest coach on the planet can't have all the ideas at all the times.
yeah.
because they're only within their one perspective. So yeah, I found that environment as a whole to be incredibly, I don't know, I don't know the right word for it, but it helped me a lot. And like, other than just these kind of like this daunting wave of like
Sure.
this cloud that rides over of like, oh, you could be fired or whatever. And I think that's short term. Like, I don't think that's going to be a forever thing. You know, they're going through whatever it is they're going through. I hope they get through it and make the best of it. You know, I hope they're on to something. Like, I hope it turns out for the best, because I still have dozens of friends who work there, and I hope that they make $1 quadrillion and become the greatest wrestling name in history, right? So,
did you all have many guest coaches when you were there? Because I know that slowed down quite a bit during the pandemic.
There were a few.
Like, I remember they would like bring in Chris Michaels a couple times. I was like, oh damn, that's an interesting name to bring in.
Right,
like,
right.
Somebody that wouldn't jump off the page to a lot of people, but you think, well, he's done a little bit of everything, and a whole lot of.
I know DiBiase set in on a couple things too. Taylor set in on a couple things. Dave Taylor set in on a couple things, and he helped a couple times with like my class and stuff. So there's a few people brought in at times, but of course, that was toward the back end as things kind of lifted on the whole COVID situation, and they got a lot of their protocols under control. Like, that was another thing. Is that company took the entire pandemic very seriously, which I don't envy their position either. Like, they're in like the most scrutinized wrestling company, if not company, like you're ever going to see, because of the way that they operate.